Ouais, pas grave.
I'm also thankful to each individual motivated coming towards this event. May Allah bless you. I'm thankful to Khuddam and the boys who spent the weekend together in Ramadan. May Allah bless you also. Khuddam I'm thankful for the speakers who attended the event during the Ayaam party. We are thankful to all the speakers. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless the sponsor of the event, the night of Calamity. May for Shahadat Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. And brother secretary Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. And last note before I would like to invite brother Sadiq. Brother Nouri will be sending his books at the back of the stall there. And we also have the charity called Al-Hayy, who are doing an event in Cardiff in March. So when we have time, please go visit them. We have their charity box with them. But then to the further ado, I would now like to hand over you to the host of the evening, Brother Sadiq Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat.
الحمد
والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد صلوات على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المأسومين المظلومين وصلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا حجة الله الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليكم جميعا. Dearest Mu'mineen, brothers and sisters, on behalf of you all, may I please take this moment to send our condolences to our master, our awaited savior, our legend, our goal, Imam al-Hujjah, whilst he recalls the tragic moments on the murder of his dearest great-grandmother, Mawla Sayyidati Fatima al-Zahra. At this juncture, I'd like, on behalf of everyone here again, to thank the EC of this centre for allowing this event to go ahead, for supporting this initiative from Khuddam and Mahdi, and inshallah we raise our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may it continue forevermore in the service. And on a second note as well, just to add to the previous mention of Ayaam, for those of you who haven't heard about this charity, it's one of the most noble charities that I've come across. And they're broadcasting and screening the film Princess Rose. I'm sure if some of you may have heard of it before. And it's going to be broadcast in Cardiff. And it's an animated production depicting the journey of Imam al-Hujjah's mother. So quite a unique opportunity to do. Make sure you try and get there. Just a few details if they are of interest. Sunday 20th March, Sunday 20th March, about 2-3 weeks away at 9:45 AM, and that's in the city of Newport. So inshallah do have a chat with the organisers at the back if you wish to take part in that event. I ask you this question with a genuine interest, and that is that when you mention the name of Syeda Fatima, I ask which of the roles that she had within the household were of greater status? Was it being the daughter of Rasulullah? Was it being the wife of Haydar al-Karrar? Or was it being the mother of Sayyid al-Shabab al-Jannah Imam al-Hassan al-Hussaini? And I ask you that if we're talking of such a lady who held 3 incredible positions and thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives her the honor of being Sayyidat al-Nisa al-Alameen, the leader of the women of the world, then how is it that we gather here today and one day, 10 days after the death of her father, to speak and remind ourselves about our murder? If we're talking about an ummah that held on to the religion of a man that was delivered on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through this man to the people, how is it that we are commemorating a murder of his own daughter? Something just doesn't quite add up. Scholars say that there's a reason as to why there are 3 or 4 narrations as to when the exact death date of Syeda Fatima took place. And they say that perhaps one of the reasons for this is that it allows us to give due time to spread over the commemoration of it. If possible, to introduce the How is it possible that we then find ourselves here in tears, beating our chests, lamenting for a woman that was the daughter of the one who revealed the religion to us? Surely someone went the wrong way. And if you truly believe today, at this very moment, that you are on the right way, aka that you are siding with that woman and with that man, her father, then inshallah you can honour your salawat towards Medina al-Ashraf. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Before we go into the tragedy of Syeda Fatima, I just wanted to address you all with regards to something that I feel is quite important, especially in light of this founding of Khuddam and Mahdi just half a year ago. And that is this concept of being a servant of Ahl Bayt. Of being a servant of Ahl Bayt. Now what makes someone a servant of Ahl Bayt? The list can go on, it's a 10-night series. But what's important to know is that whatever your contribution is to the mission of Ahl Bayt, the moment you have a sincere intention and you act upon it and you deliver, perhaps then you have become a servant of the Ahl Bayt. If it's delivering 20 nights of lectures within the various shrines across the world that we revere so greatly, or be you the person that's cooking the tea yet no one gets to thank you directly for it, for a majlis, you have become one of the servants of Allah. And I ask you this, I'm sure most of us have experienced a death within our family. And let's take the figure of, let's say, a father. If you've contributed by helping with the burial, or the majlis, or the Arba'een majlis, or the year after majlis of that father of the family, tell me how many times will the daughters and sons of that father pray for you? It would always be a giving. Even if it's just, oh Allah, thank you for giving me people who are able to help with this majlis, and please bless them. Now I ask you, when we come and commemorate these majalis today, when we come and serve at these majalis today for the Aimma alayhim salam, surely it goes without saying the same that Fatima is going to remember us, inshallah, for serving the majlis of her and indeed her children. And the reward of being a servant of Allah Muhammad, it needs no further elaboration. However, the responsibility that comes with it is one that we must really take heed of. And just to illustrate this, so at least we can take something away in addition to the masa'ib and the commemoration, just to illustrate the importance of being a servant of Allah Muhammad and the responsibility. To illustrate this, I want you all just for a second to close your eyes. This is going to be a little bit off tune, but just shut your eyes for 5 seconds and I'll explain why. I want you to think of a colour when I say the following thing. And you'll probably 2 colours may come into your head. And that's when I say a chocolate bar. Perhaps brown came into your head. And perhaps also purple. Purple, why? Because the human associates something with another thing and they connect it together. And that association between brown of the chocolate bar has been associated with purple of Cadbury. Now you're probably thinking, why on earth am I going about this? What's the relevance? The reason for saying this is that humans associate things. We pick up one thing and we think about what have we seen with that, and we draw them together and bring them as one conclusion. If it's so easy to think of a chocolate bar and think of the brand Cadbury, tell me, are there going to be associations when someone says the word Islam, when someone says the word Shia, when someone says the word Ahl al-Bayt, when someone says the word Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussaini, and so forth, there are going to be associations. Now I'm sure in our heads we all have an idea of the various associations that could be made with the words we just went through. Some, no doubt, are incredibly positive, and others, unfortunately, the name has been tarnished. Now how can we disassociate from the negative associations and ensure that anything that we link with Al Muhammad, anything that anyone from the outside links with Al Muhammad, is most definitely going to be positive? Well, if you want to be a servant of Al Muhammad, perhaps the starting point is to ensure that when you are out there in the public representing the madhab of Al Muhammad, that you ensure that any association that's applied to you and that religion that you follow is one positivity and only positivity. And it's one word that we hear over and over and over again from parents, from the pulpits, from teachers, and it's simply Islam. You can have no idea when the Prophet's birthday was. You can have no idea why we come and commemorate Syeda Fatima's Majlis. You can have no idea about what the first line of the Quran is, but that won't affect the association that the public then have on that word Ahlul Bayt, on that word Islam. Because you can go out and greet someone peacefully, respectfully, offer them when in need, help them in assistance, be the one that stood next to them at a time of difficulty, and perhaps that will bridge the association of positivity for them. So my message is what, if it's not been clear? That those of us in this room are either at school, we're either at university, at college, at work, or we interact with the public in some way or another. And if that's the case, if you do interact with the public in some way or another, then think about how they address you. Do they address you through a title that's irrelevant to your name, or do they address you with your name directly? Does your name associate itself to the religion of Islam? Well, if your name is Ali, Fatima, Zainab, etc., perhaps it will. Thus, automatically it becomes your responsibility to ensure that when that person says Sadiq, yes, Sadiq, they know I'm Muslim, I now need to reply in the way that a Muslim would to ensure that positive association exists. And let that be the starting point. Let that then bridge it further. Let that reduce that bridge and ensure that you can then invite them inside when necessary. That you can illustrate to them that, you know what, despite what you see here and there, that us within the madhab of Al Muhammad, we hold the standards of Syeda Fatima Zahra and her family. They are our idols and our role models. Do not waste your time elsewhere. Draw the lessons from these personalities, and I can assure you, going astray will become impossible if you implement them. So before we enter this night of mourning and calamity and grief, ensure that you've taken something practical away from it. And if right now you're thinking, okay, fine, I understand I need to ensure that I can illustrate something, that I can show that I am part of this religion in a positive manner. However, I now need to ensure that I have someone that I look up to and revere. Let's tonight make Syeda Fatima amongst the top of that list. Her dear husband, Imam Ali alayhi salam, said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, good manners are the perfection of man. Very simple. Good manners are the perfection of man. Let that be the practical tip you take away from today. That tomorrow when you're back in school, when you're back in the public, when you're conversing with friends and whatever, that you're giving them that positive vibe. And when they ask you, what did you do over the weekend, which is a standard question, say that, oh, hey, I remembered the death of someone I really look up to. And inevitably they'll ask who. And let that be the start for you to inspire them towards the path of Syeda Fatima, inshallah. Before we move on, can I ask you please to try and move as far forward as possible. Try and fill up the gaps both on the brothers and the sister sides, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa Inshallah, inshallah with that we can start to enter this feeling of grief and sorrow. Where we remember a lady that words can attempt to try and describe her incredible persona and nature, yet they'll never do it justice. A lady whose father would stand for her in awe and in respect. A lady who each and every one of us in this room wish and pray, and at this moment we hold our hands high to ask from Allah to allow Syeda Fatima to enter our grave at the time when we first enter it, inshallah. This lady that has the universe within her own hands. A lady that's closer to us than our own mothers. A lady who our own mothers used to call out for in difficulty when carrying us. A lady who was the only possible first match for Imam Ali alayhi salam. A lady who was murdered 1400 years ago. We will try to bring you elements of poetry, of remembrance of this beautiful lady. And let your hearts travel today. Yes, we're in Newport physically, but let your hearts travel today. If there's any sort of embarrassment you hold it with crying or mourning, then leave it outside. The lights are off. You're able to get into your own zone, and inshallah, make sure you get in. And with that, we welcome our first reciter for the day, Brother Nouri Sardar, and welcome him to the Salat.
It's an honor to be here, to be able to serve you all on this occasion. We are here to mourn the martyrdom of our mother, Fatima Zahra, Syed Ali Hakeem, peace and blessings be upon her. Indeed, they say that heaven lies beneath the feet of a mother, so one wonders what lies beneath the feet of Fatima. And of course, Fatima is a mother to all of us. So my first poem, I'd like to bring to you a message, especially towards my younger brothers here in front. From our mother Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, where she says, if this world burdens you, I'll lighten your burden. If you weep for my rib, then know that you are my children. If this world burdens you, then know that I'll lighten your burden. If you weep for my rib, then know that you're my children. Heed me, I am Fatima. Heed me and call me mother. I am the sun that burns for your warmth, veiled by darkness of space. My prayer beads are the 8 planets that orbit my very place. I outshine the stars that glisten. They only shine from my grace. And when I prostrate to my one Lord, I watch the angels embrace. I pierce the sky, I know of I. If beneath a mother lies the 7 heavens, then judgment day waits for me to make its decisions. Know me, I am my father's daughter. I am the daughter of the mercy that for which mankind was made. My mother called me father, my father called me mother, and he found me always at his aid. My father called me his mother, and found me always at his aid. A mother assists her child from the day its cradle swayed. I massage the wounds of the heart that make its heartbeat afraid. So fear no outcome. Fear not, I'll come. If ever my child is left in doubt or fear, the hands of Fatima are there to wipe your tear. I'm here and going nowhere, because a mother's love for her child flows not in blood, but in bone. She'll ensure that his skin is fresh, even if changes her own skin tone. Take my veil for comfort, my child. Take my veil for comfort, my child. If ever you feel alone, and if you're poor, I have space for you. In my pupil sits a throne. Wish and sit still. Wish I'll fulfill. And if you have no mother, then I am here by your side. If you have one mother, then no, you have two as your pride. Child, your tears I gather. Mothers' wombs carry their children. You're in the womb of my soul. Mothers' wombs carry their children, you're in the womb of my soul. Shia, before creation I wrote your names upon God's scroll. God loves me and knows who I love. God loves me and knows who I love. So don't fear, God's in control. After your death I shall intercede, and you shall never smell hellfire's coal. So live and walk in peace. Live piece by piece. Just as your mother's eyes watch over you daily, I do not blink unless I see my son happy. My heart for you would flutter. Oh my child, I'll give you everything, but a child's ear it heaves. If ever I see my son sin, then know Fatima's heart it bleeds. Oh child, Fatima says, I'll give you everything, but a child's ear, it heeds. If ever I see my son sin, know that Fatima's heart it bleeds. Your petals and roots, they know of me, for my hand planted your seed. Nor do I want my children idle, for Fatima's children, they lead. So lead this world's dreams, lead and chase your dreams. Your dreams are dreams of mine, and I'll pray for them to come. And know that whenever mothers pray, truth all of your dreams become. So conquer, and know I'm proud that I have a small request as your mother. One who's holding her rib broken, and whose cries for her father leave all of Medina awaken. What does she say? Never forget my lion cub that from my house was taken. Never forget my lion cub that from my house was taken. Let your tears flow for Hussaini, for he shall never waken. Weep for Hussaini, weep and soothe my pain. Hold gatherings for him, and wear black and lament. Whenever you mourn my son Hussaini, then know that I am present. Hussaini is your hereafter. Hussaini is your hereafter. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's have a second. Must have this Indeed, the hadith says, Subhanallah, the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace of Allah, says that were it not for the Holy Prophet, the universe would not have been created. And yet, were it not for Ali, neither the Holy Prophet nor the universe would have been created. And if it were not for Fatima Zahra, neither Ali nor the Holy Prophet nor the universe would have been created. So to describe Fatima's status is something no poet can do. But inshallah, I ask you all just to try and understand her. Understand her, understand her. Were it not for her creator, there would be no religion. No Muhammad and no Haydar would exist were it not for her, there would be no religion. This is Fatima Zahra. Muhammad says, watching the planets rotate, they'd not be, were not me, and my city would not be without its gate. No Ali, I'd not be. Muhammad says, watching the planets rotate, they'd not be, were not me, and my city could not be without its gate. No Ali, I'd not be. Yet without space, what can moon and sun create? they'd falter and shatter. Space is a veil for a woman that's prostrate. This is Fatima, my mother. Her prostration is truly worth all of creation. What a divine prostration. From her tears were born a nation. With heaven as their destination, there would be no religion. The stardust that was born with creation's birth, in her veil, it wails. And the crust that was once used to birth the earth, her prayer beads hold its seeds. The head of judgment day bows when Fatima comes forth. The head of judgment day bows when Fatima comes forth. Heads lower, she would tower. If her sons are heaven's masters, what's her worth? If her sons are heaven's masters, what's her worth? Her shadow doesn't know. None were worth her. None were worth her except the one who splits the hereafter. Ali, he who splits heaven and hell. It's enough to say that her husband, had we not obeyed his command, there would be no religion. On the souls of women, God made Zahra a queen, and Sheba envies her. The mother of Jesus, Maryam herself, has not seen such a sight, bathed in light. If the queen of the woman of the world she'd not been, understand heaven's hand. The Lord would make it so that there would be no men. The Lord would make it so that there would be no men, and she would rule jinn and all. There'd not be men, and she would rule both earth and heaven, commanding earth's rotation. Does it matter? She's a ruler, and if we don't take her as a teacher, there would be no religion. When Muhammad would miss heaven sent, he would smell her veil. For this world, Fatima's veil was not meant. It hushes earth's roses. Would verse 33 by the Lord have been sent? Were she not? I think not. I think Satan's knots are left withered and bent. Where she walks, heaven stalks. Whites of her eyes are plains of heaven where truth lies, and no plains for her are hidden. Lifeless idols shriek in despair where she prays, and were not her prayer, there would be no religion. She who was veiled like a pearl veiled by an ocean. She's veiled like a pearl veiled by an ocean, and her seas no man sees, and veiled are her true lovers and children. Veiled are her true lovers and children, yesterday and today. Oh, my sisters watching, if you love her, then to her veil listen. Her costumes speak volumes. What you value most is always left hidden. So soothe her rib and wear her charm. She adores you. She adores you. She adores you. She adores you, and she knows your worth and value. So hold your beauty deep within. She did not die for your wails. Understand that without veils there would be no religion. So peace be upon the one, she who has her anger as the sword of her Lord. If approaches her the hand of a stranger, if approaches her the hand of a stranger, God's throne shakes and their hand breaks. The sword of Muhammad unsheathes. If danger knocks a roar at her door, his tomb shakes. If his daughter two hands injure and it curses their lineage, Ahmed's tomb shakes. Ahmed's tomb shakes when fire at her door that man makes even runs in fear. Shaitan, there is no worth of the lineage that harms she who without her age there would be no religion. And the women of God, they stand guard at her door, both Hajar and Sarah, and from the eyes of Maryam tears of blood pour when fire would flicker the fumes and ash burn the sea of mercy's shore. And Maryam curses them, she who is adored by the heavens, left on the floor. She who is adored by the heavens, left on the floor. And this candle they will trample. I hear a sound, when the womb of Zahra they pound. I I hear a sound, I hear a sound, when the womb of Zahra they'd pound the wail of her children. The rib breaks and heavens shatter. The rib breaks and heavens shatter. If the throne of God would falter, there would be no religion. And here she lies, the universe idle on her bed. 2 moons weep as she sleeps, moons of the sparkle of the eyes of Muhammad. By Hassan screams Hussaini, the sun by whose gravity these moons are led, the lion who could not run Ali, he who bathed in tears that eyes of Marhab shed, he shrivels and wails. Who was this light? Who was this light that made Haydar Ali yearn his own plight? To what stars does she listen? Veiled in life, shrouded in death, Ali wishes that with his last breath there would be no religion. So understand her. Were it not for her creator, there would be no religion. No Muhammad and no Haydar would exist were it not for her. There would be no religion. This is Fatima Zahra. This is Fatima Zahra. Wa Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad sallallahu Indeed, the greatness of Fatima Zahra is something that cannot be confined to a poem, something that cannot be described in words. No one here has a tongue made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is able to describe Fatima Zahra. And even when the tongue tries to describe Fatima Zahra, it's as if you hear Imam Ali alayhi salam angry that you are trying to speak about his wife, Fatima Zahra. She who was veiled by not just 7 veils, but it's as if she's veiled by the 7 heavens themselves. And so one wonders truly what happened that day when that man came to the door of Fatima Zahra threatening to burn the house down. Clear in history, very clear in history. He came to the house wanting Ali to pledge allegiance. They told her she's inside and he said, so what? He lit the fire and put it to the door of the house. And we all know what happens next. What we don't know is that Hajar and Maryam and Hawa and every woman who was a Shia of Fatima was also crushed between the door and the wall. Don't think that only Fatima by the door was taken. Don't think that only Fatima by the door was taken. Hajar and Maryam and Hawa found their ribs broken. Don't think that only Fatima by the door was taken. Hajar and Maryam and Hawa found their ribs broken. How many women fought between the door and the wall? From the house of Fatima they heard a roar. It's as if gold fell and shattered the floor. They asked the house, and when they asked its tears pour, how many women were crushed between the wall and the door? How many women were crushed between the wall and the door? What fell? Even thunder was embarrassed from its sound. What is worth so much that when it fell, it hurt the ground? What made the earth turn stall between the door and wall? The greatest woman from the Holy Quran cried out in pain and found that their ribs were broken. In tears, holding their ribs, they all asked the question, what happened to the leader of all the women? What happened to the leader of all the women? What fell and what broke? This pain is so unbearable. Were it placed upon a mountain, we would see this mountain crumble. Hearts to our mother crawl. Between the door and wall I saw Hajar running, looking for water, when suddenly she forgot the thirst within her. She felt the pain of the rib of Fatima, as if she is crushed between Safa and Marwa. She heard the voice of her mother. Fatima was hushed between 2 mountains. The mountain of patience was crushed. For her mother, she would call between the door and wall. I saw Maryam, still pregnant with her son, hearing the silence of the child within. She cries out as her mother's worries begin. Oh Fatima, what happened to your Muhsin? Oh Fatima, what happened to your Muhsin? I swear, oh Fatima, if you find that your son shall no longer live, don't cry, oh Fatima, my Isa to you I'll give. Child, mother and all were crushed between the door and the wall. I see Hawa with Adam and they wail, saying, what happened to the mother of the veil? I know when I felt in my chest and nailed on her tears the ship of salvation set sail. Tell me why the light from which I took all my shyness left this world in pain, in wailing, and in her distress, and her killer stands tall between the door and the wall. It's not just them. I hear the voices of all women are hushed. I hear the voices of every woman is hushed. When into the house of Fatima they rushed. It wasn't just Fatima by the door crushed. It wasn't just Fatima by the door crushed. It wasn't just her veil by fire crushed. Every lover of Our Lady Fatima Zahra screams out in pain, hearing of the door and the fire. Nothing broken or small between the door and the wall. So don't think that only Fatima by the door was taken. Hajar and Maryam and Hawa found there was broken. How many women fall between the door and the wall? How many women fall between the door and the wall? Muhammad wa ali Muhammad
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
1 second,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ayaam, inshallah. Almost finished, but this last point was a request from one of the brothers of Damini here in Newport, inshallah. Ayaam Sangat, the servants of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. And this is not about Fatima Zahra, but about another great woman, a woman who, when we hear her name, we remember multiple things. When we hear her name, we remember the sword that struck her father Ali ibn Abi Talib. When we hear her name, we remember her mother who was crushed between the door and the wall. When we hear her name, we remember that her brother was poisoned to the extent that he would vomit his own liver out. When we hear her name, we remember that her other brother was crushed by horses and beheaded on Karbala. When we hear her name, we know that this is the woman who would run from tent to tent whilst the fire chased her. The daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib, whose name, Zainab, means beauty of her father. And subhanallah, when she stood there in the court of Yazid after everyone was taken from her, after all that she had seen, and she tells Yazid, I saw nothing but beauty. What else can the daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib say? She stands here in front of you. In fact, don't imagine that it's me here speaking to you. Inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts my poetry, I want it to be as if Bibi Zainab herself is standing here and reading you these lines. And she tells you the fire draws me pictures. When she stands there in Karbala, watching the tents burn, she says the fire draws me pictures. Standing in the burning tents, I watch the ashes fall. They turn into memories, and slowly they crawl. They show me things that hurt sight, things that I don't want to recall. A sword striking a father, a rib crushed against the wall. I cry with smoke in my lungs, grandfather, O Muhammad, by the sword of Saqifa, your grandson's blood has been shed. Just like Hunayn and Uhud, your funeral, they all fled. But there's no funeral here, and Hussein's chest is crushed instead. I watch the fire and smoke, sweep Hussein's tents off the sands. The only hands to help me are Abbas's severed hands. I watch the fire and smoke, sweep Hussein's tents off the sands. The only hands to help me are Abbas's severed hands. By fire my veil is burnt, and my mother understand, holding a rib that's broken, beside me Fatima stands. I see Layla. I see Layla and I ask her, for who do your tears flow? Because that can't be Ali Akbar. That fallen body looks like Muhammad, my grandfather. Layla, I know you're confused. Layla, I know you're confused. When I saw his head shatter and it was struck, my eye saw the head of my father, Haydar. Fire surrounds you, O Farwa. Fire surrounds you, O Farwa, but you look at a candle, a flame extinguished early, so young and so beautiful. When I saw your Qasim struck, I saw his father Hassan smile, and when his body they would drag, Qasim Hassan would cuddle. I witnessed Khuddam come closer toward my side. When we witness our brother, a sight that makes the sun hide. Is that really his body? Is that really his body? What's outside and what's inside? How much it hurts these sisters to see his massacred pride. What a life I have lived. What a life I have lived. That in the fire flickers. What a life that I have lived. That in the fire flickers through words of Nouri Sardar, who tries to draw what matters. But the fire can never draw the horror of all horrors. What? When my beloved Hussaini, the sword of Shimmer sword. When my beloved Hussaini, the sword of Shimmer sword. The fire draws me pictures. The fire draws me pictures. Thank you for listening to me. Inshallah, Allah accept this poetry and all inshallah. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
I just wanted to share with you a brief piece of poetry in Arabic, inshallah, and I'll translate it as I go, and it will need your concentration to catch the essence as to what's being said. And inshallah, it will help us move on to the Messiah of Syed Ali. So I'll start by offering our salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The poet says, Al-Bab tarwi qissat al-ahzan min Fatim li-sahib al-zaman. He says the door narrates the story of sadness from Fatima to the master of our time. من غير قدر فاطم الزكية فأصبح ضلع هوية. And he says, without a grave is Fatima, and her ribs have become our passport or identity, our passport and identity, our ribs. من بعد طول الدهر والسنين من بعد موت المصطفى الأمين. After many days and many years, and after the death of Al-Mustafa Muhammad, أوقفني وهزني حنين وشاهدت دار الهدى عيون. And it stopped me in sadness. It stopped me in sadness, and my eyes witnessed the dawn. يصيح الصوت خلف باب الدين إليك يا فضة أسندين. A voice calls from behind that door. A voice calls from behind that door of religion. Save me, O Fidwa. Please come and save me. قد سقطت فاطمة الضحية فأصبح بالعلماء هوية. Fatima has fallen as the victim, and her ribs have become our passport and identity. And inshallah, let the words of Syeda Fatima Zahra allow the tears to flow from our eyes this evening. Let that be the stimulation of our tears tonight, inshallah. And to add to this, before we start on the side, I'd like all of you to stand up, inshallah. You will please, inshallah, stand up, and I'll explain why. And the reason for this is that before we start on the side, let's send our condolences to Imam al-Hujjah, inshallah, in terms of Hujjah. We'll offer dua al-Faraj, and then we can, inshallah, give him the side. But when you place your hand on your head for Salat al-Zaman, inshallah, you can offer a tear for him whilst we grieve with him, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في هذه الساعة وفي كل وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, this is slide from narration specifically.
محمد وآل محمد بلندر صلوات. فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين بلندر صلوات.
This Masa'ib has been taken solely from the books of the Ahl Sunnah. So elements of this Masa'ib that are in our books inevitably and the books of Ahl Sunnah, and we'll refer to Abu Bakr as the first and Umar ibn al-Khattab as the second, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala It is said that following the death of the Holy Prophet, that Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha, in her glory, in her magnificence, in her greatness, in her infinite wisdom, she said that my strength has been eradicated. This was following the death of Rasulullah. She says, my strength has been eradicated. My endurance has betrayed me. My enemies have reduced at my misfortune, and my grief will kill me.
Father,
I remain bewildered and lonely, confused and lonesome. My voice is subdued, my back is broken, my life is disturbed, and I find no one. Father, after you to attend my loneliness, neither to stop my tears, nor to stop me in times of weakness. Surely precise revelations, the praise of Jibrail's decadence and Mikael's location have vanished. Motives of others have changed and gates have been shut in my face. Thus I detest this world after you, and my tears shall be shed for you. As long as the breath continues to exist within me, my longing for you shall not cease. My sadness for being separated from you shall not vanish. Sayyid Zahra, again following the death of the Prophet, then goes on to say and cries out loudly, Father, with you when the light of this world, its flowers wither away after blossoming in your presence. And I will forever be sorrowful for you until we are reunited. Been separated. Who is there for the widows? Who is there for the widows and the orphans? Who will we have for the ummah until the day of rising? Oh Father, we became after you among the oppressed. Oh Father, people shun us after you. After we glorified your presence among men, thus what tear shall not spill upon your departure? What sadness after you shall not continue to exist? Which eyelid shall be smeared with slumber? You are the spring of faith and the light of the prophets. So how can mountains not sway and seas not dry out? How can the earth not tremble? Father, I have been afflicted with the greatest sorrow, and my disaster is not mine. Father, I have been afflicted with the greatest misfortune and the biggest calamity. Angels cry for you and stars cease to move because of you. Your member after you is gloomy. Your member is empty of your secret conversation with your Lord. Your grave is joyful for holding you, and paradise is delighted with your presence, supplication and prayer. Oh Father, how gloomy are your meeting places without your presence. How pained I am for you until I soon join you. How bereaved Isabel Hassan, the entrusted one and the father of your two sons, your beloved one, he whom you brought up as a youth and made your brother as a man, Abul Hassan. The most beloved of your companions to you, Abul Hassan, who was the first to immigrate and help you. Sadness has overtaken us, crying will kill us, and distress will always accompany us. Lady Fatima Zahra, she acted in such a manner when she realized that with the weakness which afflicted her, she just could not prevail. So she took refuge in a house in Damini near the tomb of the martyrs to cry for her father, and to complain to him about that which grieved her. Fatima Zahra used to visit the great tomb of her father and take handfuls of the dirt from his grave and smell it, and began weeping. Fatima Zahra would then return to her home and cry day and night, day and night. It is said that following the death of Rasulullah, and just days after the death of Rasulullah, remember that once someone passes away, you greet that household with food and salam and condolences. Yet the house of Fatima was greeted in a very different way. Following the death of the prophets, just days after, those involved in slavery gathered at the door of Rasulullah to obtain the allegiance of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And Zubair, defending the Imam, drew his sword, saying, I will not put it back until the oath of allegiance is rendered. The shadow of Fatima should not be seen. You're not worthy of the presence of our Queen. How long since the death has it now been? The second heard of this news, and he says, hit him with a stone, hit him with a stone, and seize the sword. The second, he then rushes to the door of the house, demanding the oath of allegiance, willingly and unwillingly. An election? Since when does an election require force? Since when is an election a dictatorship? Since when does an election require those who have become the leaders to then go over and force people to follow them? The second says, by Allah, I shall burn down the house. I shall burn down the house over you unless you come out and give the oath of allegiance to the first. The second shouted, by God, either you come out to render the oath of allegiance, or I will set the house on fire. The house of the angels threatened with fire. Blessings of truth now tainted with liars. Unimaginable scenes transpire. Genuinely unimaginable scenes. Unimaginable scenes. The first and the second feared the backlash from the Imam's supporters. Thus the house was surrounded by an armed band led by the first and the second. And they threatened to set it on fire if Ali ibn Abi Talib and his supporters refused to come out and pledge allegiance. Now I know it doesn't sound emotive and descriptive, however, these are the accounts that are in the ahadith, so try and paint this picture in your head. The second, he says, and he has the audacity to say to Fatima to Zahra behind the door, I know that the Prophet of God did not love anyone more than you. But this will not stop me to carry out my decision. If these people stay in your house, I will burn the door in front of them. The second asked for wood and told those inside, I swear by Allah, I swear by Allah, who has my soul in his hand, that if you do not come out, I will burn the house. Someone told the second that Fatima alayhi salam was inside the house. The second said, so what? So what? It doesn't matter to me who is in the house. The first asked Ali to support him, but Imam Ali alayhi salam refused. And then the second went towards Ali, his house with a burning torch. At the door he met Fatima to Zahra, and she said to him, do you intend to burn the door of my house? The second says yes, because this act will strengthen the faith brought to us by your father. The door speaks out, this is the house of the messenger of the Lord, Ya Zahra. How can you approach this residence without a salam, let alone a sword? Are you so confident in yourselves? That's the fire you can afford. Tell me, for preparing to do this act, do you expect an award? Everyone starts to come out of the house except Imam Ali and Syeda. And Imam Ali at that point said, I have sworn to remain home until I collect the Quran. This was the Quran that Imam Ali was writing himself a copy of, and his own commentary on top. The second refused. The Lady Fatima's remonstration forced him to return. He instigated that the first to pursue this matter further as to why they were not leaving the house, and thus they sent their slave footballs, and several times, but they received a negative reply each time, and ultimately, once they refused to exit the house, the second went with a group. The second went with a group to the house of Fatima, to the house of Rasulullah, to the house of our religion. And when she heard their voice, she cried out loudly, oh Father, oh Messenger of Allah, how art The poet writes, oh Father, they continue to knock on the house. I think it's time to walk towards the door and face my destiny. Oh Father, come here, hold my hand and face it with me. What's these the men who said like you they want to be? May Allah have mercy on the one who calls with me. Ya Zahra, your voices. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra. So why do they come here wanting to hurt and abuse me? Purely for the reason of their fake leadership and the fact that I don't agree. Ya Zahra, they all know that's me. They all know that was meant to go to my dearest Ali. Oh Father, they don't care about who's inside the house. Be it me, my offspring, or even my spouse. They surrounded Ali alayhi salam and burned the door of his house and pulled him out against his will and pressed the leader of all women, Syeda Fatima, between the door and wall. They pressed the leader of all the women between the door and wall, and the nail falls into the chest of Fatima Zahra and wraps in his heart. The door was pushed through, trapping Syed Ali between the door and wall. Following the events of the door, Syeda Fatima was severely injured, and her days were numbered. She had conversations with Imam Ali alayhi salam regarding her funeral rites, the things she wanted during this time, and this included indeed being buried at night, and following the burial of the Imam to sit by her grave and to recite the Quran next to her grave. Syeda Fatima said to Imam Ali, I know how you love my children. I know how you love my children, but be careful of the same. He loves me dear, and I miss him sadly. Be a mother unto him. Till my recent illness he used to sleep upon my chest, and he is already missing it. Now I ask you, O lovers of Zahra alayhi salam gathered in this room, it is said that as we just seen that Syeda Fatima says to Imam Ali, take care of the same, for he misses sleeping on my chest. Now tell me the suffering of Ruqayya when she looks at her father's chest only to find her body, the body of her father beheaded in Karbala. Tell me the agony of Syeda Ruqayya when she looks around and has no one to support her as a father figure. Tell me the suffering of when Imam Ali alayhi salam feels the broken rib of Fatima when doing her ghusl and kafan. Yet imagine the reaction of Ali if he felt the ribs of Hussaini al-Shaheed of Karbala. Tell me the agony. Tell me the agony that Fatima Zahra would have felt if she had seen that incident firsthand. Now tell me the agony that our dear awaited Syeda Imam al-Hujjah goes through, waiting to avenge these deaths. May Allah bless you all if you call out Ya Mahdi with the dearest recital. Ya Mahdi, your voices. Ya Mahdi, don't be shy, louder. Ya Mahdi. Remembrance of Syeda Zahra, we ask you to, inshallah, grant us her intercession in this life and the next. Oh Allah, with the tears that are rolling down our eyes and the choke within our throat, we ask you to grant us the opportunity to be amongst those who say that Zahra counts as the servants of her family. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask through Syeda Zahra to alleviate the suffering of all those across the world. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask through Syeda Zahra on this night to accept our little azar in her way and to, inshallah, alleviate the suffering of the graves for when we enter, and may she get our rescue at that time, inshallah. May Allah bless your tears, and we now welcome the Tejani Brothers to, inshallah, continue the Messiah of Syeda Zahra. أفلح من صلى على محمد
Even if they cut my body, even if they cut my body into 1,000 pieces, each piece will call your name, Hussain, your name, Hussain, your name, Hussain.
Over the next 40 minutes, 40 to 50 minutes, we will be taking you through a journey that will start in Medina and will end up on the plains of Karbala, inshallah. We've been asked to recite in English, but also due to the demographics of the audience in Urdu as well as Farsi and Arabic. Inshallah, try and bring all the languages into it. You see, as we sat here, we don't realize how blessed we are to cry for the Messiah of the Ahlul Bayt. When you listen to Hadith al-Qisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the pinnacle of the universe say the Fatima, the Zahra. He says that had it not been for you, the stars in the heavens, the oceans, the mountains, the skies and the earth would not be created. You see, this is that lady who is the entirety of this universe. But we see when Hussain is born, she begins to ask her father why he's crying. Her father says, Hussain will see a day that is like no other. Fatima says, will I be there? He says, no, you won't be there. She says to him, will you be there, father? He says, I will not be there. She says, will Ali be there? He will not be there. Hassan will not be there. There will be no one there with Hussain on that day. She says, Father, so who will cry for him? She says, there will come a community, a nation that will cry for him. We are that nation. We are the result of the dua of Fatima. So don't underestimate the value that we have. Don't underestimate the worth of every single tear that you shed tonight. You've already heard the Messiah of Lady Fatima. When we look around the world, we see the oppression of the Shia, of the Ahlul Bayt. Take it further back. When we see the aggression on the Ahlul Bayt, take it further back. When we look at Karbala, People often ask, when did Karbala begin? Karbala began on that day, at that moment, when the nail entered the rib of Syeda Fatima Zahra. Insha'Allah, what we want to do is take you through a journey. When Syeda Fatima said goodbye to the members of her household, in what circumstances did she say goodbye to them? It is said when Amir al-Mu'mineen did the ghusl of Lady Fatima, you could hear this individual who had lifted the gate of Khaybar with one hand. He began to cry. People asked him, why were you crying? He said, if you saw what I saw, you would be bursting out in tears. It is said in the darkness of the night, it was the last wasiyat of Syeda Fatima that her body should be carried out and she should be buried in the darkness of the night. We see Amir al-Mu'mineen as he lowers her body into the grave, and he looks up and he sees her back is lashed. He looks at her face is slapped, she's got the bruises of those slaps. He holds her body and he feels every broken rib. He looks at her head and her skull, she's got marks of slaps and lashes. In Nahj al-Balagha is said, when Amir al-Mu'mineen lowers the body of Syeda Fatima Zahra into the grave, he says, oh Fatima, this is one wound that I will never be able to heal from. This is one thing I will not forget until the day I die. He says, oh Fatima, I am so alone. Without you around, this house is no longer a home. Oh Fatima, I am so alone. Without you around, this house is no longer a home. How will I forget the things that I saw? Your ribs that were crushed, the nail and the door. Your tormented cries, the blood on the floor. Mohsin, our son, whose life is no more. Oh Fatima, it broke me to see. Though you are in pain, you crawl trying to save me. This grief in my heart cannot be contained. But how can I cry in front of Hussain? I wander the streets without any aim to find anyone who can share my pain. Oh Fatima, my heart sobs for you. I cry by myself in alleys that are destitute. They tell me, Ali, we thought you were strong. You lifted the gate of Khaybar alone. So why is it that you cry on and on? You know better than us that she is gone. Oh Fatima, if only they knew the bruises and scars I saw when I was washing you. You know that a day will come on Hussain. You will be alone upon burning plains. A shower of stones and arrows will
broke his everything. With my very hands, I lay him to sleep. With my very hands, I lay him to sleep. I know that you told me to never weep, but I can't control the way that I feel. Your death is a scar that will never heal. Oh Fatima, oh Rose of Allah, your fragrance will stay forever in my broken heart. The fragrance will stay forever in my broken heart. We see in the final moments when Lady Fatima was breathing her last, she asked for every member of her family to come forward one by one. There was a very special moment that we see. There was one particular personality who we see she spent a slightly longer time with, as she called Zainab forward. She said two things to her daughter. She said, you will see a day, there will come a time when you will not have Hussain by your side. You will be left alone as the Salar of the Qafla. You will be left alone as the leader of the camp at the Ahlul Bayt. You will face such trials, your veil will be snatched, and you will be paraded through the streets of Kufa and Sham. Stones will be thrown on your head, fire will be thrown upon you, your tents will be burned. But Fatima, I promise you one thing. In all this time I will be there with you. And she said one more thing. She took out a shirt which was disheveled, torn. She said, Fatima, Zainab, I want you to keep this. Keep it safe, because there will come a day when Hussain will ask for this. There will come a day when Hussain will ask for this shirt. Keep it with you and keep it safe. We fast forward 50 years. I just want you to close your eyes and think of this moment. Close your eyes. Hussain is leaving the tent. And he asks Zainab, he says, Zainab, bring me that shirt. She asks him why. He says, they will not leave my body alone. They will take everything I have. I'm hoping that by wearing this shirt is of no value. I'm hoping that at least let the shirt remain on my body. That final conversation with Hussain and Zainab was one of the most difficult ones in the histories of the race. Taking one last look at you as you leave, I see fire. Now what do you perceive? Do you see hearts broken like our dreams, or our
flame, and all the children screams. Gonna think of you as I run between tents of legs. Gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day. I'm gonna think of you on that road every step of the way. Gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day.
As you stand alone, looking left and right, can I just ask you, as you leave to fight, since I was born, have you ever left my side? As you walk, you see my footsteps by your sides. Gonna scream aloud as your pure neck is hacked away. Gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day.
If there's no one to prepare you for the war, you know Zainab would give her life for yours. Without any words, I'll kneel down on the floor, and with these hands I'll help you climb your horse. Gonna help you now. Who will help me after today? I'm gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day.
Could you imagine how alone your saints say that they are? As you walk away, it breaks my heart to see every few steps you turn to look at me. You are strong enough to handle any grief, but you're broken to leave your family. We'll say the thing I'm have to help mom. She's got nothing. Gonna smile at you, gonna smile at you every time you turn to look away. Gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day.
I look for a sign while standing on the ground that you're safe with no enemies around. But my heart shakes and I fall to the ground, watching you making not a sound. Gonna run to you to protect you on the burning place. Gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day.
As I walk past your body tied in chains, I make this vow to you, oh my Hussain. I will stay strong and bear through any pain. I may not live, but your name will remain. Gonna make you proud as I'm dragged away from where you lay.
she will be slammed. She will be slammed. Her body will be burned. She will die in pain, calling you at every turn. Gonna lay her slowly into a dark and empty grave. I'm gonna lay her slowly into a dark and empty grave. I'm gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day. I'm gonna see you in my dreams, see you every day. As we move onto probably the hardest recital of Syeda, I would kindly ask for all of you to stand up, because after this we're going to be moving to Matami, and we'll have a few Urdu Rahmaz as well, inshallah. If you could all stand up. As the house of the Ahlul Bayt, the close family members of Syeda Fatima were saying their final goodbyes to her, it is said that every member of the household said their final goodbye. There was one member of the family who would not go anywhere near that body, and that was Hussaini. He said, from the moment I was born up until now, I have never gone just like that. I've always been asked. She's always held her hands out, and I've run into her arms. If she doesn't hold her hands out and welcomes me, I will not go. And then we see that two arms break out of the shroud, and Hussain runs towards the body of his mother. No one knows what was said in those final moments when Hussain said to her, but one thing we can be sure of, this was not going to be the final time they embraced. Forward 50 years on, when Hussain was upon the horse, the time of Asr came, there was a shower of stones and arrows. People were firing arrows at Hussain. Someone came towards Hussain and embedded a spear into his chest. It is said those who had nothing to throw or to fire picked up stones and rocks from the floor and threw it at Hussain. Hussain began to shake on the horse and he finally fell. It is said that when Hussain fell from the horse, his mother took him into her arms. She said, Hussain, whenever you've been hurt, I have always comforted you. This is the ultimate moment of your hurt. Come to your mother and take some consolation. Akbar nahi hai ghazi, dariya pe so gaya hai, rahe Khuda mein sara kulba ujad gaya hai, beas ho gaya hu, तन्हा में रह गया हूँ, अम्मा मुझे संभालो, सीने से अब लगा लो, आगोश में छुपा लो, अम्मा मुझे संभालो, सीने से अब लगा लो, आगोश में छुपा लो, अम्मा मुझे संभालो. संभालो आवाज़ दश्त में जा हल मिल की दे रहा था आवाज़ बावफा का लाशा तड़प रहा था मखदल में आ रहा हूँ तुमको बुला रहा हूँ अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में डालो अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो हुआ हुआ लहू में ये दश्त करबला है चेहरे पे खून असग़र मैंने यूं ही मना है किस हाल में अम्मा क्या साइलान तेरा अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो आँखों के सामने है हर बचपन का मंजर लोरी सुना रहे थे गानों पे तुम सुना कर अब हार आके देखो गोदी में मुझको ले लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो लुट जाएगी रिदाएं में भी अब जलेंगे प्यारी मेरी सकीना के बालियां छिलेंगे शाम गरीबा बेटा तो भी सदाए सहना अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो अम्मा बदन ये सारा तीरों से अब भरा है घोड़े पे नाज़मी पर लाशा मेरा भरा है अब शिमर की छुरी है गर्दन पे चल रही है अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो सीने से अब लगा लो आगोश में छुपा लो अम्मा मुझे संभालो कैसे लिखी तेजानी पूरे दर्द का वो मंजर जब शिमर ने चलाया
لگالو آغوش میں چھپالو اما مجھے سنبھالو
استاد نبرد و میدان بر جسم ہمیں اولا جان بر تخت دلیری سلطان کیے عباس از باد مردی سیراب پر سے کمر عالم تاب رنگینان عشق نایاب کیے عباس مسلط دلاوری رو صاحب سب شکن لشکر محارب جنگ باری کی حریف جنگ کی ہو پورے علی ابن ابی طالب پورے علی ابن ابی طالب مولا 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 ابل الفاظ 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 سیدی کی ارنو اے بازو سید زیشا وہ آپ پہ یہ جان قربان کیے عباس میدان میں سارے شیطان تجھے دیکھ کے ہوتے ہیں حیران اے شہر جریے یزدان کیے عباس تجھ میں تو سکینہ کو ناز ہے کیونکہ تو وفاؤں میں فراز ہے تو شہر حیدر کا راز ہے سب کے لب پہ یہی آواز ہے سب کے لب پہ یہی آواز ہے مولا 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 ابل الفاظ 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 The mirror image of Hagar, the meaning of honor and valor, you grant every wish and prayer. Kiye Abbas, the warrior like no other, the one that Hussain called brother, you'll be in our hearts forever. Kiye Abbas, this is testament to what you made, that the water speckles your holy grain. If our hearts are troubled or any pain, we look to your shrine and call your name. We look to your shrine and call your name. Mola, 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 abal al-faz. 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 العباس المغوار أسد بن علي الحرار بالحرب كسيف قد كي عباس العسكر ثم احتار سيفه واحرقه بالنار موت بركان بشرا كي عباس نور الله الغالبي ليس الله الغالبي فاعل الحق مطالبي هذا العباس بن ابي طالب هذا العباس بن ابي طالب مولا 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 ابل الفاظ 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 وادی ادب را استاد در باغ ولایت شمشاد ان کی دل کو شد آباد کیے عباس در شعر ہوا سے دیوان پابند به عهد و پیمان در بحر شجاعت طوفان کیے عباس اوج همه زیبایی و روی اوست رنگ شب سینه یک زور اوست تیغ اوسانی روز به قاریها آسمان در لحظای هوی اوست آسمان در لحظای هوی اوست مولا 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 مولا
خون کی روانی چلوئی زہرا ثانی کیے عباس چک گئی تھی تب شہ کی کمر جب یہ ہوا فتوحات پر کوئی روکی ہائی بولو ہنگر میرا غازی تو ہے میرا جگر میرا غازی تو ہے میرا جگر مولا 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 عباس مولا 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 عباس مولا 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 عباس مولا 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 عباس You were Lady Zainab's protector and you were the army's commander You stood as the standard bearer kiye Abbas You mastered the art of combat The whole of Arabia knew that No one had the skills that you had kiye Abbas When you stood against the enemy You broke through the lines with so much ease With the blood of Ali running through your veins Sacrificed your two arms for Hussain Sacrificed your two arms for Hussain Mola, 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 mola Abbas Mola, 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 mola Abbas Mola, 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 mola Abbas MashaAllah Mola, 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 mola Abbas Beyne Umiye ishq ay dunya Beyne Umiye ishq ay dunya Ishq az abad al-far Ishq az abad al-far Pure alavi fatan dilha Pure alavi fatan dilha Ishq az abad al-far Ishq az abad al-far Mola 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 Abbas 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 اے میری بی تیرے دل پہ استغاثہ ہے تیرا ممنون میری شاہزادی یہ جہاں سارا یا زہرا یا تیری روزے کا جو نظارہ ہے ہر گنہگار
Fatima Zahra, 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 Hussain, Ya Hussain, Hussain, Ya 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 Hussain. Voices, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain. Form your circle. Jazakumullah khair jazak. Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain. Voices, brothers. Ya Hussain, 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 Ya Hussain. What is your voice? Ya Hussain. Don't be shy. Like everybody. Ya Hussain. Matam. Ya Hussain. Matam. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. MashaAllah. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Raise your arms in the Matam. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Allah. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Jazakumullah khairan jazak, your chorus. Jazakumullah khairan jazak. Barakallah fikum. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. Everybody participate. The youth, the elderly, even the women on the other side. Raise your arms. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. Our home is Karbala. Slow it down. Where the youth of the Shia Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. Raise your arms up. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia, MashaAllah, Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it. Let's Imam Hussain hear you this night louder. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia, Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it with my arm. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia, Hussein's flag is our treasure. Shufuni. We will fly it forever. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia, Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. We will never let it fall. When we see it, we stand tall. Salute it and we call to you, Hussain, help us all. We will never let it fall. When we see it, we stand tall. Salute it and we then call to you, Hussain, help us all.
We cried Hussain when we crawled in Muharram every hall. As this flag hung on the walls, we saw it when we were small. We cried Hussain when we crawled. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. It is louder. Our Serve your Imam this time. Where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. Oh Hussein, just like Abbas, we will plant the flag with our hands. One for every grain of sand throughout each and every land. To the poets, Sadiq, Damini, Hussein, just like Abbas, we'll plant the flag with our hands. One for every grain of sand throughout each and every land. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly. This is not acceptable. Louder. I know you can do louder. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. We now raise our hands to you, pledge our promise that we'll do everything that you said to. This flag we will stay true to. We now raise our hands to you, pledge our promise that we'll do everything that you said to. This flag we will stay true to. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. We now raise our hands to you, pledge our promise that we'll do everything that you said to. This flag we will stay true to. We now raise our hands to you, pledge our promise that we'll do everything that you said to. This flag we will stay true to. Our home is Karbala, where the raise your arms, raise your arms. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. In Karbala we all come together and stand as one and proclaim under the sun that you, Hussein, you have won. In Karbala we all come together and stand as one and proclaim under the sun that you, Hussein, you have won. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. MashaAllah. Our home is Karbala, where the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure. We will fly it forever. This flag's our identity. It runs through our families, from Abbas to the Mahdi, flying for eternity. This flag's our identity. It runs through our families, from Abbas to the Mahdi, flying for eternity. Our home is Karbala, where the the Mahdi, flying for eternity. This flag's our identity, it runs through our families, from Abbas to the Mahdi, flying for eternity. Our home is Karbala, we you from the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure, we will fly it forever. Our home is Karbala, with the youth of the Shia. Hussein's flag is our treasure, we will fly it forever. Muhsin, we for you plead. Muhsin, we for you plead. Raise your arms. Muhsin, we for you plead. Muhsin, we for you plead. Louder. Muhsin, we louder. For you plead. Muhsin, we for you. It was just our destiny to gain one Fatima Zahra. Keep your soul that's so heavenly. She left such a strong legacy. Sadly sent back with broken heart. She remembers they door and claims. Muhsin, Muhsin, raise your arms for you plead. Muhsin, we for you. Muhsin, Muhsin, we louder, louder, louder. For you plead. Mashallah. Muhsin, we for you plead. A holy heart never felt peace. Zahra never had any ease. So the poet said, Wafiq Abidi, a holy heart never felt peace. Zahra never had any ease. Think about the land they seize, sometimes about Syed Ali. Her last moment, they killed her child, injured her rib, from blood would drip. Muhsin, Muhsin, hey, for you plead. Muhsin, for you plead. Louder, louder. Muhsin, for you plead. Muhsin, for you. Till this day we feel orphan. Hassan, Hussain and Zainab. We saw Ali filled with distress, whilst burying heaven's mistress. Alone in dark, whilst all stayed home, in grief he'd mourn, his heart had torn. Muhsin, Muhsin, plead, for you please. Muhsin, we for you plead. Louder. Muhsin, raise your arms to the sky. Ya Allah. Muhsin, we for you. A flower sent to us mankind was left shouting, someone help me. You killed him, still ignored my plea. Zahra lost him at pregnancy. Ego smashed her, Ya Zahra. These seas dried up, these skies cried too. I've mourned you. Muhsin, for you please. thousands gathered at your front door. Ask who are you looking for? Awaiting a reply based on, is this what her father had taught? Day of judgment, who will they call? Us Rasul, Khuddam, Shaitan. Muhsin, Muhsin, we for you, we. Muhsin, we for you. Muhsin, Muhsin, we for you, we. Muhsin, we for you. Thousands gathered at your front door. Ask who are you looking for? Waiting a reply based on, this was her father had taught. Day of judgment, who will they call? Was Rasul, Khuddam, Shaitan. Muhsin, Muhsin, we for you, we. Muhsin, we for you. Louder, louder. Muhsin, we for you, we. Muhsin, we for you. While Zahra's with her family, getting burnt are her enemies. Wallah, while Zahra's with her family, getting burnt are her enemies. For the time they burnt Fatima, they'll be burnt for good by Allah. May God curse them, Ya Ali, they caused upset to Muhammad. Now they're granted. Muhsin, Muhsin, we for you, we. Muhsin, we for you. MashaAllah, Muhsin, Muhsin, we for you, we. Muhsin, we for you. Allah, we stay mother of her father, using this phrase. What do we mean? How she looked after Muhammad, his bruises she wiped and she cleaned. When her father preached, it felt like the world divided, but Fatima was with Muhammad side by side. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, louder, Ya Zahra, raise your arms, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya louder. Put this, are you tired? Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra, raise your arms, Ya Zahra. We say mother of her father, using this phrase. What do we mean? How she looked after Muhammad, his bruises she wiped and she cleaned. When her father preached, it felt like the world divided, but Fatima was with Muhammad side by side. Ya Zahra, louder. I can't hear your voice. Ya, raise your arms, your arms. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra. They threw their rocks and threw their stones, and aiming at Muhammad's face. To the poet Syed Ali Hakeem, they threw their rocks and threw their stones, and aiming at Muhammad's space, but Fatima was always there, and with a welcoming embrace. For she is the daughter that cannot be replaced, and with the great, and with the greatest exaltation she is placed. Ya Zahra, compassion you showed for a woman of paradise was the title on you bestowed. Who is more deserving to be at heaven's gate? But so Fatima to Zahra, what was your fate, Ya Zahra? Something that they were your ribs very sore. With Muhsin you were still pregnant when they crushed you using the door. I can't even begin to imagine that night. The threats and aggression, what a terrible night. Ya Zahra, away from all the cruelty, all the deception and the lies. We'll always remember within our souls inside Fatimatul Zahra, the flower that's divine. A victim is present with courage so bold. She felt fire on her clothing, yet so cold. Even the door was burning, nothing to hold. Yet the crimes hidden and the violence untold. All alone as so sublime, for they killed a gem and her innocence died. Not a day they'll see heaven, not a sunshine. It's an insult to call them Muslim, a crime. All alone, was Abbas Rizvi and Sayyid Waqt Abidi. I swear by my love to you, oh Fatima, my life will be a service to Zahra. The blood cannot be removed and ribs denied. In every heart are the echoes of your cries. Never have you cried so much when Muhsin died. All alone, Ya Zahra. Left and right, you would call someone, come and help me. Haydar! 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 You would call someone, come and help me. You have killed my Muhsin, still ignored her plea. That awaited child she lost at pregnancy. At that age Muhsin left such a legacy. Without speech Muhsin silenced the enemy. All alone, come and help me. Haydar! 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 You have killed my Muhsin, still ignored her plea. And that awaited child she lost at pregnancy. At that age Muhsin left such a legacy. Without speech Muhsin silenced the enemy. All alone, Ya Zahra. Louder, louder. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. Voices. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in, slow it down with my hand. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in your way, Ya. Look at my hand, Jazakumullah khair jazaa. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll never side with those who ignore the door. How dare they put Ali as their number 4? I'll always tell them the truth, and I'll give my life, I'll give my life, I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. Ya Fatima, I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. How can they follow someone who killed you? Of the Prophet's sunnah they haven't a clue. I am a Rafidi and I'll give my life, I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. Avenging the blood that spilled is my pain. A place in Imam's army I wish to gain. I'll fight to avenge your death. And I'll give my life, I'll give my life in your way. Fatima, I'll give my life in your way. Fatima, قبلتي حيدر علي والزهراء ديني. Then by this motto and to serve them, that's my dream. For them I'll do anything, and I'll give my life, I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. Without Fatima I would have never been a lover of Ali. This time was concede. She gave me everything, so I'll give my life, I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. I'll give my life in your way, Ya Fatima. Oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin. My heart's into, my heart's into, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin. My heart's into, we will always mourn and cry for your loss. We will always mourn and cry for your loss. It lives in our hearts and it runs through our veins, through our veins. Oh, Muhsin, easy. Oh, Muhsin, voices, voices. Oh, Muhsin, my heart's into. Oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin. Brothers at the back, your voices. Oh, Muhsin, my heart's into. Louder, this is not acceptable. Oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, my heart's into. Our blood writes all the names of all your sons. Our blood writes all the names of all your sons. That's a given, but so was martyrdom, martyrdom. Oh, Muhsin, voices. Oh, Muhsin. Don't get tired, don't get tired. Oh, Muhsin, my heart's into. Oh, Muhsin. Oh, my heart's into unborn. They knew that they would be killed. To the poet Sadiq Damini, born or unborn. They knew that they would be killed. They embraced it, saw it as an honor, an honor. Oh, oh, Muhsin, oh. MashaAllah. My heart's into. He would have been a defender of Hussain. He would have been a defender of Hussain, but instead he will command on Judgment Day, Judgment Day. Oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin. My heart's into, my heart's into. Raise your arms, oh, Muhsin, oh, Muhsin. Hussain, my heart's in tune. Ali washes you and he feels your cracked rib. Ali washes you and he feels your cracked rib. Which one hurts more? Which one hurts more? This one or the trample trips? Trample trips. Oh, Hussain. Oh, Hussain. Oh, Hussain. My heart's into. Oh, Hussain. Oh, Hussain. Oh, Hussain. Oh, Hussain. My heart's into. He would have been a defender of Hussain. He would have been a defender of Hussain, but instead he will command on Judgment Day, Judgment Day. Oh, my Hussain, oh, my Hussain, oh, my Hussain. My heart's into. Sit down, oh, Hussain. Oh, my Hussain, oh, my Hussain, oh, my Hussain. My heart's into. With my hand, every lover of Ahlul Bayt will suffer. Every lover of Ahlul Bayt will suffer. So in their way, take your children and offer, and offer. Oh, Hussain, faster, faster. Oh, Hussain, oh, Hussain. My heart's into. Oh, Hussain, oh, Hussain, oh, Hussain. My heart's into. Hussain, 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 Hussain. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, aliyan waliyullah, aliyan waliyullah, aliyan waliyullah. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, aliyan waliyullah, aliyan waliyullah, aliyan waliyullah. Mahdi aliyan, Mahdi aliyan, ya mazhar al-ajaib. Mahdi aliyan, ya mazhar al-ajaib. تجد عونا لك في النوائب. كل هم وغم سينجلي، كل هم وغم سينجلي بعظمتك. ما شاء الله، بعظمتك، بعظمتك يا بنبوتك، يا بنبوتك، بنبوتك، بولايتك. علي 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 Hussain, please for the Qibla, Jazakumullah khair al-jazak. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma kun عليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في كل ساعة وليا محافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب مضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. Your voices. أمن يجيب مضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. أمن يجيب مضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله. اللهم بعث المضطر أجب المضطر ونحن المضطرون يا الله. اللهم شافي كل مريض بحق مريض كربلاء زين العابدين. ورحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة لكل المؤمنين والمؤمنات لا سيما أموات الحاضرين. تسبق الصلاة على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.